Salute to the squad. It's your Commander Theo Coop, and we back here with another one. If you guys are subscribed to my channel, follow my content. A week ago, I did a video on this dumb chick from Jersey who was dating an inmate and was giving women the red flags, dating the inmate instead of just saying, don't date an inmate. Be that as it may. That led me down a TikTok rabbit hole of inmate dating, not only women date inmates. I found a clip of a woman who's dating an inmate and then attempted to get pregnant. Had him send his seed through the mail in an attempt to get pregnant by a dude who's got like a 50-year sentence. It's ridiculous.
Hi you guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm finally giving y'all the video that y'all been waiting for. First and foremost, I don't need nobody in the comments with this telling me, oh, it doesn't work like that, sperm dies, this, that, and the third. Okay, cool, I don't care. Like I said, I spoke to a specialist and they let me know, you know, so I'm not trying to hear nothing of what nobody's talking about because I don't care. Like I said, this is just something that we tried to see, you know, see if it would actually even work or just for fun, so whatever. But I went on Google and like I was like searching around trying to find like just an IVF specialist that I could speak to. I gave him a call, I spoke to her, I explained the situation and all this other stuff, and she, you know, she let me know, informed me on like what I needed to do, and she told me that it's still a 10% chance that it could work, and it's like a more of a higher chance that it won't work, but she was like, she still encouraged me at least just to give it a try.
But while following that TikTok nonsense, I ended up discovering this story out of Georgia. Watch this video.
An attorney for a former deputy accused of killing the father of her child now says it was self-defense. Channel 2's Tom Jones live in Clayton County, where the former deputy is being held right now without bond.
And Justin Javea Jackson once worked in a jail like this, watching over inmates. Now she is an inmate. Police say she is a murderer, but her attorney says she shouldn't be here because she defended herself that day. He says this is a case of a woman crazy in love with a convicted felon.
She loved him, and her and I had a conversation about, you know, you stick with this guy, you're a cop.
Attorney Dennis Scheib says he knew his client, Javea Jackson, before she faced charges for murdering the father of her unborn child, Terrell Douglas. Jackson had to resign in lieu of termination from the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office in May because she kept associating with Douglas, who was a convicted felon. Now she is in danger of being one.
Sometimes you love somebody to death.
Clayton County police say Jackson stalked Douglas to this apartment near Morrow in June. An unidentified witness told police the two argued over a woman who lived here. The witness says she heard a gun go off, heard Douglas scream, then he went to the ground. The witness says Jackson's gun jammed, and then she saw Jackson shoot Douglas again. Scheib tells a different story. He says Jackson shot in self-defense.
She's not only fearing for herself, but she's fearing for her baby.
Scheib says Jackson went over to check on Douglas because he wasn't answering his phone. He says he attacked her as soon as the door opened.
He immediately comes toward her. What do you think you're doing? And it exploded on her.
Scheib says Douglas choked Jackson. He says she started to get lightheaded.
And she shoots him one time. Boom, dead.
Scheib says his client was blinded by love and didn't go over with the intent to shoot.
Well, she's got a right to defend herself. She's 6 months pregnant.
And Jackson faces malice murder, possession of a firearm during a felony, and stalking. Her preliminary hearing this morning was postponed. One will be held in August, and that's where Dennis Scheib says he will put his client on the stand so she can tell her side of this story. We're live in Clayton County. Tom Jones, Channel 2 Action News.
So to recap, you have a deputy who is a former correctional officer who was dating an inmate. I found articles about this woman and also some of the things she was accused to have done. Actually admitted that she made some bad decisions in the sheriff's office video obtained by Channel 2, where an investigator questioned about her association with Douglas about a month before the shooting. I acknowledge that my decisions were my decisions and I accept consequences behind it, she said in a May 12, 2023 video. But here's the part I wanted to point out. Jackson was reprimanded in 2019 for associating with Douglas, a convicted felon with a long criminal history, according to investigators. She says they broke up, they resumed dating at the end of 2022. We linked up, messed around, and now I'm pregnant, she told the investigator. And how many times do we talk about that? Women they're just having casually sex with dudes and just ending up pregnant. And then also, this is a law enforcement officer. Why are you hell-bent on engaging with a felon? That was 4 years ago in 2019 when she was reprimanded by her superiors. In this same article, it reads, Channel 2 Action News has learned a former deputy accused of killing the father of her unborn child was about to be fired for associating with him. So she was already going to be terminated anyway. The Rockdale County Sheriff's Office says Terrell Douglas was a convicted felon. Former Rockdale County Sheriff's Department, Jovea Jackson, says she and Douglas were dating until she broke up with him recently. Jackson admitted so why is a county sheriff dating a felon? And it's guaranteed they met in jail a few years ago when she was a CO, became intimate, he got released, she became a sheriff, she's still messing with him. Even to the point, years before she deleted him, she was written up because her superior's like, why is she with this dude? Rockdale County investigated Jackson once again for associating with the felon. They realized Douglas was at her promotion ceremony. Investigators determined Jackson was untruthful about when she and Douglas began dating. So that's another thing. She was lying about when exactly they were together. Leaders say they plan to fire her. Jackson resigned in lieu of termination. So she quit before they could fire her. But also, how silly are you? I'm gonna put the picture up. They're already investigating you for dealing with this dude as a sheriff, being intimate, and also living with a known felon when you're a sheriff's deputy. But also, when she got promoted, this asshole was at the event. Rest in peace, bro. I probably shouldn't be calling him an asshole. But this is weird to me. Why go through all that? Whether you're the silly chick that I talked about in Jersey in another video, driving 10 hours to see random dudes you never met in prison.
And, you know, I started writing him, reaching out to him, then he reached back, and then all of a sudden he was fell in love already. Like, I was just like, wow, like, that was fast. I should have known the sign, you know what I'm saying? Then, always telling me I'm beautiful. Oh, you beautiful, you this, and then the third, all early. So, then I started to go see him. I drove 10 hours from Jersey, Atlantic City, New Jersey, to go see him, right?
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Did she just say she drove 10 hours? Man, I ain't driving 10 hours for a month. If you're not my wife or came from my ball sack, meaning my children, close, intimate family, I ain't driving 10 hours for nobody outside that ring.
I beg your pardon?
And then surprised when people in jail scam you. Or you're a law enforcement official and you're out here determined to have an eggplant from a felon. And then had the nerve to get pregnant by him and then delete him. On June 4th, Dwight Robinson heard a loud noise at the South Lake Cove apartments just off of Highway 54. Police say Jackson stalked Douglas to the apartment and shot him near the front door. In the interview with investigators about a month before the shooting, Jackson said she broke up with Douglas and he wasn't returning her phone calls or texts. She said she didn't know where he was. Police say she tracked him to the apartment and ended his life.
6'8", now former member of the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office, is behind bars, charged with malice, murder, and stalking. We're talking about Jovea Jackson. She resigned at the end of May, and within the last hour, we've learned from the Clayton County Sheriff's Office that she's being held in connection to the killing of 28-year-old Terrell Douglas. In a statement from Clayton County, it says Jackson and Douglas were in a relationship at the time of the June 4th shooting, and that Jackson was actually pregnant. This happened at a residence along South Lake Cove Court in Jonesboro. Clayton County says Jackson initially left the scene but turned herself in 2 days later. Jackson had been with the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office since 2015 but had resigned less than a week before the shooting.
She threw her career away by just being defiant from her superiors and being adamant about dating this dude, only for her to delete him years later while she got pregnant by him. So now that child is going to grow up with no parents. What the hell do I know? This is the Weed Head talking on YouTube. Guys, let me know what you think after parting in the comments. It's Commander Theo Coop, but you can
Call me bitch.
This is some dumb shit.
Excuse me, bitches?